So oftentimes we get asked about how much you have to have in assets in order to justify having a trust. And what I would say is that there is no minimum or maximum as to what you need to have a trust. We use the trust for certain purposes, and so it just depends on your circumstances. If we choose not to do a trust and we're using a simple will and relying on beneficiary designations on assets to avoid probate, then in those cases, it's going to depend on how you've done the beneficiary designations. Does the family all get along? Let's say you have 3 kids and you've named them all as equal beneficiaries on your retirement assets, your bank account, your brokerage account. If they don't all get along, then we're going to end up with at least one of your children is going to be bearing the brunt of dealing with your final tax returns, paying your debts, etc. when you're gone. So in that scenario, that structure may not work well. So we may say, instead of that, let's just go ahead and factor in that we're going to have probate. Or we can say, why don't you give this one particular asset to the child that's going to be most responsible for these things? Or we may say, you've got a lot of complexity in the family dynamics, let's just do a trust. You don't have to have a certain number of assets. One purpose of a trust is to avoid probate and to help make things easier for whoever's cleaning up after you when you're gone. Because the trust is outside of the court's jurisdiction initially, unless a beneficiary brings it into the court's jurisdiction, your trustee has access to the assets you've routed to that trust or put into that trust in your lifetime. So they can use those funds to wind down your affairs. So no one beneficiary is bearing the brunt of the cost to deal with your final wishes and to pay your final taxes and to pay the team to clean out your house. So that is one of the considerations that we think about when we're talking about, should we go with simple will? Should we go with a trust? It's very much the family dynamics. Also, if you're considering, or there's a strong possibility that a minor is inheriting, we don't want to go with a will and we don't want to go with beneficiary designations, routing things to a minor. The courts are very strict about minors inheriting. Let's say you have a minor in Virginia that's inherited under a will or under a financial account. The court is going to require that a guardian of the property be appointed for that child. The guardian of the property has to report to the court the duration of the time until that child turns 18 on every single cent that's been used. So it's basically probate every year until that child turns 18. So when we have minors that may be inheriting or intentionally inheriting, we're going to want to go the trust route because we are not under court supervision. We're not having to pay bond fees. We're not having to report to the court, paying court fees as well. Your trustee still has to account for what you're doing because the court's not in the picture, and that it makes it a lot easier and less expensive. So we're not depleting the funds as much as we would have otherwise.